wanted to say that we cited a brisa, which seems to be the machlokes of Rav and Shmuel is machlokes Tanoim. Because we have one brisa that says a father marries his daughter on the road, and the daughter marries herself off in the city. So one brisa says that the daughter's marriage is a marriage, the father's marriage is not a marriage. Where she was a bogeres at the end of the day. A bogeres is a fully mature woman. So the Gemara says in Nida that the last day of the 6 month, there's a 6 month period from Nara, when a girl reaches 12 in puberty, you give her 6 months. The last day of that 6 month period, the breast develops in a way which is an indication she's considered fully mature now. Okay? But it happens on that day. That day is a transitional day. It could happen at the beginning of the day. It could happen at the end of the day. The father married off at the beginning of the day. She was only checked at the end of the day. Okay? No, there's nothing to do with it. No. Thank you. So now we're not sure. So Rob says she's a bogeres now. The presumption is she was a bogeres in the morning. Therefore, her marriage is a marriage. The father's marriage is not a marriage. Shmuel says no. It's a question. It's a suffix. We cited one brisa says that her marriage is a marriage, the father's marriage is not a marriage. The other brisa says she's suffering with Kadeshes. So it seems to be the two brises, this is the argument to Rav and Shmuel. Whether it's hers is and the father's not, or it's a question. Hers is no. The difference is, one brisa is speaking makoshoso, where the daughter says, when the father tells his daughter, by the way, I married you off this morning, she says, Father, I was a bogeres this morning, which the father didn't know. So when she counters and she explains what he did has no value, then she's fully her marriage is a marriage, the father is not a marriage. What about if the woman says, I didn't check myself this morning, but I know in the afternoon I'm a bogeres. In that situation, what would it be? So that's a suffix. So this, no, there is no argument. It's two different cases. If she counters the father doesn't know she was a bogeres anymore. She's, Father, I know I was a bogeres in the morning. That's the brisa that says the father's marriage is not a marriage. The brisa that says it's a suffix is where she says she didn't know what she was in the morning. So it's a suffix. Any time on that day could happen. But she knows at the end of the day she definitely was. So in that case it's a suffix. So the Gemara said, so maybe factually we have Shmuel presented his position, Rav presented his position. So we understood it to be a machlokas. So maybe they're not even arguing. Maybe Rav is speaking in the context where the daughter counters the father. She tells her father, by the way, in the morning I was already bogeres. And Shmuel is speaking, where she says, I only know at the end of the day I was a bogeres. In the morning I wasn't sure what I was, and therefore it's a suffix. Maybe there's no argument in Rav and Shmuel. So until now that we believe there's an argument, we based it upon, is a chazak suishtanus, is it a chazak or not? Maybe it's totally baseless. There's no argument between Rav and Shmuel. Can I ask you a question? So she's better off to be a suffix. So she's a suffix. Now she's totally in a quandary here. I understand that. So what's the self-interest? But after everything's said and done, what's her predicament? She's not married. She can't be with either of these men. I understand that. She doesn't know what the halach is. Right? And in any time, if we have a principle, the question to ask was, seemingly it's a davar shebe'erva. Right? It's a davar shebe'erva over here. Determining whether she's a married woman or not. So davar shebe'erva, how do you believe her? She's a single witness. That's the difficulty here. No, so that we explained it. No, it happened at the first moment of the day. We don't know when it happened. Let's say the father married off right at sunrise. Maybe she already was a bogeres. That's the beginning of the day. Maybe the transition already took place at that moment. Possible. Okay, let's leave it. We said that because since fact, it's a fact, therefore that's it. It is slightly difficult. Because the Gemara says in Gittin, but in Gittin it's a little different. The Gemara says that if you send a get overseas and the agent delivers the get, he has to make a statement. It was written in front of me, and it was signed in front of me. So the shliach, well, who's the shliach? Shliach is an echad. The woman's a married woman. If the document wasn't written correctly, that means it doesn't terminate the marriage. If it wasn't written with the proper intent. And if it's a forgery also. When he says it was signed in front of me, that means he's substantiating the document that it's not a forgery. So Moraz says, Davar Shebervo. How do we believe the single witness in Davar Shebervo, Box Mishnayim? Right? We're going to determine a marital status. If this document is a viable document, that means it terminates the marriage. So his testimony regarding the document is ultimately going to determine whether she's married or not married. How do we believe in this Davar Shebervo? No, it may be a forgery. It's irrelevant what the Edom are on the document. But his testimony is going to determine whether that's viable testimony or not viable testimony. The single witness saying are authentic signatures.
Right.
So making that statement, you're actually validating the document. That the document.
Why even have signature on the document? If you need to Edom, why even have signature?
Okay, we're not learning Hebrew now. I'm just showing you from there that even though he's testifying about the document, but since the consequence of the document will determine whether she's married or not married, that's classified as Davar Shebervo. So over here, by her, him, okay, so the Gemara says, on a Torah level, it's substantiated. It's purely rabbinic, and there's no other way. She's going to be a changed woman. She'll never be able to be divorced. Because the Gemara says, on a Torah level, every document has a cheskes kashrus. We never question. In case somebody says something, we want to authenticate the document. So therefore, it has to be substantiated through the statement of the single witness. By the way, Mitzvah Hashem, after kiddushin, we do guilty. Okay? Mitzvah Hashem. One's Isser. One's Erechon Neman B'Isurim. Not talk about, testify. It's not talk about. You talk, a person talk. Here we're talking about testifying. I testify the piece of meat is kosher. Okay, it's testifying. That's Isser. This is Davar Shebervo. It's a marital status. Is she a married woman, not a married woman? Yeah. Whether she's permitted, but it's, yeah, I understand.
Not exactly.
It's a Shem. We'll see Tosus on base on base. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. Okay? See, I can't fault you for not remembering it, because you never learned. It's a Shem, we'll learn it. We'll speak about it. What? No, but the consequence of her saying she's a Bulgarian, that's saying that her father's marriage is not a marriage. Right? See, okay, this, what we're discussing now has to do with about what we said on the Monolith. Here we're speaking about she married herself, the father married herself. If the father would have only married her, then she would not be married, because she's a cheskes pnuya. Well, our question is, was she a Bulgarian, was she not a Bulgarian? Before the father married her, what was she? She was a pnuya. She was single. You know what we say. And now we have a question: did the father was the father's action an effective action? Because we can't resolve it. So what does Torah say? You go after chazaka. She was a pnuya before. She's still a single woman. But in our situation, she also married herself off. So that original chazaka has no relevance to her. Because either way, she's a married woman. Right? That's what Torah said on this first side of the page. So therefore, now I have a question: is his act a viable act, or her act a viable act? The question is, was she still in his domain? Was she not in domain? Therefore, that's the reason why it's not resolved. No, let's say she didn't marry herself off. Factually, she's a Bulgarian at the end of the day. Wait, let's say she's a Bulgarian. Shmuel says it's a suffix. She may, yes. Right? So whenever you have a suffix, what do? You follow chazaka. What's the original presumed status? She was single. No, better than Nara. Single. So if she's single, we say she's still single. You continue with that same status. But if she married herself off, then that's not available to you to resolve the issue over here. So therefore it's a suffix, okay? But the Gemara right now is saying, if this is the way we're reconciling the brisos, that they're not arguing. One is speaking where the daughter counts as the father. And the other cases where the daughter says, I really don't know. So maybe Rav and Shmuel not arguing. So what are they? So now are they arguing not? So the Gemara is going to cite something, a proof from Shmuel that Shmuel is arguing with Rav. That even where the daughter counters it, it's still a suffix. Why? But why is it nothing? At the end of the day, what is she? She's fully mature. So we have two chazokas countered one another. We don't know which one to follow. Right? You have Nara to start with, and then at the end of the day you have Bogeris. So they clash. And one is not stronger than the other. So it's a question. So, right? Was the father's act an act of marriage or not marriage? Because if she was a Bogeris in the morning, she's not married. She's a single woman. Seemingly would be the same. Should be the same. Yeah, but it's not. See, with her, it's not as complicated. It's not complicated. We would be identical. If the chazok is available. But that's not resolving the issue. Okay, but the Torah says when you're in doubt and you don't know the fact, chazaka is a way to resolve it. That's the mechanism you resolve it. No. Not when you don't know. I'll give you an example. The Gemara says, if the Torah says, if a man rapes a single girl who's 12 years old, she's a virgin. Okay? He has an obligation to marry her. He has an obligation to marry if she's agreeable to marry. Positive commandment. He's not permitted to divorce her. He divorces her, he has to remarry her. It says, Lo si Elisha. She must be his wife. Lo yuchal l'shalach lo yomov. He's not permitted to divorce her. If he divorces her, he has to remarry. Okay? What about if the woman he rapes was a mamzeris? Mamzeris. Does he have an obligation? Say, it says lo si Elisha. Would we say asay docha lo asay in that situation? Okay. So the Gemara says there's a question what the Gemara means, but those explain the Gemara. Let's say she would say I am not interested. So then there's no mitzvah. There is no mitzvah. So therefore, since it's the type of mitzvah which is contingent upon her consent or not consent, or interest not, that asay doesn't have the ability to override, to supersede the los asay. It's more in Ksubis. Okay? You following, Jay? Okay? So now, Tosas asks a question. This is like a concept of Efshel kind of Shneim. If you're able to resolve the conflict, so since over here the conflict between the asay is resolvable through the woman saying, I'm not interested, therefore the asay doesn't have the force to supersede the los asay. Okay, so there's a question. You have a four-cornered garment made of linen. So the Torah says you put tzitzis, wool tzitzis on it. Although you're creating a combination of wool and linen, we say the asay of tzitzis supersedes the los asay of Shabbos. Right? That is the classical case. Torah says, what's the problem? We have a way to resolve it. Round off one of the corners. Right? Round off the corner. You round off the corner. So why do we say so? There's a way to deal with it that we could actually incapacitate the asay by rounding off this corner. No, you'll have the mitzvah where the garment is what? Made of what? Is made of wool. Right? That's Tos's question. So what would you answer? No. there's a difference. The case with a woman, he has an obligation to marry her. In the context of the obligation, she can say, I'm not interested. When you round off the corner, and it's no longer you're changing the whole scenario. It's no longer the setting where the mitzvah applies. This garment has no relevance to the mitzvah. This woman being a raped woman, she has relevance to the mitzvah. But it's contingent if she's agreeable. Here, a four-corner garment, you must put a tzitzis on. Okay? What happens if you change the equation? It's no longer a four-corner garment. It has no relevance. But in the four-corner garment, there's no way to resolve that. So therefore, the essay has the force that it supersedes the los essay of shatnis. Ernie, you with me? Okay? No. Because she has, but in what context does she say no? When the obligation is in force. When you round off the corner, there's no longer the obligation. But it's not the same setting as the setting where initially the obligation did exist. Okay? So giving a get, that's like rounding off the corner. It has nothing to do with this. Right? You have a suffix. So when the question is irresolvable, fal chazaka. What do you mean? No, it's not right. What's the question? The question is, was she married, was she not married? Well, you could divorce her. That's not resolving the question. You're addressing the problem, whether she's permitted to another man or not. But the question was she married, was she not married? That's not my question. Chazaka resolves that question. I have a chazaka, she was single, she's still single. She was never married. You're throwing in a side issue. You complicate it. No, there's no relevance to it. No. Cohen marries a grusha. Is he married to her? Of course he's married to her. He's married to her. Of course the divorce is a divorce. But he can't remarry her. You have to learn Malkus. You give him Malkus. The Brisa says you give him Malkus. Because he can't remarry her. By an ordinary Jew, it's Lavanita Klaseg. He could correct the wrong he did by remarrying her. Cohen can't correct this. He gets Malkus. Correct. Weakens it. Of course, it has to have. We have the classical case, tzitzis with the woolen tzitzis with the linen garment. The positive that you want to fulfill has no application in that context, because it cannot supersede the negative. Correct. Okay. The reason why I didn't respond to David was because I wanted to get this clear before I went to there. Otherwise, people would have gotten confused. No, serious. That's the reason. Okay, let's talk about that case. Okay, let's talk. Yibum Achlit is up to the man. The woman has no say in the matter. Okay, good. No say. The Gemara says, Chalitza mokamim ein mitzvah. That the preferable mitzvah is Yibum. The Torah doesn't want you to give Chalitza. If one is not possible, you do the other. That's the difference. Here, the ball is in her court. If she says no, as much as he wants to marry, it's irrelevant. Look, a man rapes a woman because he wants to marry her. He'll rape her, and she'll be forced to agree to it. No. She says she's not interested. Chalitza, she has no choice. If he wants to do Yibum, he does Yibum. She has to. She has to agree to this. Acquiesce, she has to acquiesce. No, she's forced. It says, Afilu bal korcha. Afilu bal korcha, even against her will. What? Definitely. Even forcibly. She's his wife. Afilu bal korcha. I'm not saying it's going to be a great marriage, but whatever it is. But she needs a get. Even though under normal circumstances, a woman who's forced into a relationship, it's nothing. But here, the act itself, that causes the marriage. because he's taking over the marriage of the deceased brother. That, no, makes no difference. Makes no evil. No, katana can't receive chalitza. She has to be an adult. So the Gemara says that Bezdin tries to convince the surviving brother to release her with the chalitza. Let's say Gemara says, he's an old man, she's a young girl, young woman. It's not going to work. It's not compatible. And Torah, it says, the ways that are pleasant. This is not going to be pleasant over here. So they do whatever they can to convince him to give the chalitza, not to go through with the evil. But if he's adamant, they can't do anything about it. Okay? So more, Howard, we have another 5 minutes. Oh, okay. I want to give you the key. Okay. So the Gemara says maybe there's no argument between Rav and Shmuel. So Gemara tells over a story. Gemara says, "Betizbro, is it even to consider that there's no argument?" Har Rav Yosef braid Rav Menashe midvil. This person, Rav Yosef, the son of Rav Menashe, came from a community called Dvil. Ovar uvda kavosi the Rav. Hear this? He had a similar situation. A girl became a Bulgaria. Said, we found out she's a Bulgaria the end of the day. She married herself off. The father married her off in the morning. So the question was she a Bulgaria in the morning or not? And Rav Yosef ruled, he was a man of standing, like Rav, that what? That her marriage is a marriage, the father's marriage is not a marriage. So if you're saying there's no argument Rav and Shmuel, should Shmuel be upset with this psak? Shouldn't be upset, correct? Ikbid Shmuel. Shmuel was what? He was makbid. Meaning he was offended by this. Omar, and he made a comment. He says, "Kuliyam akayle bekabazuta by v'drabonon, kayle bekaba rabo." Hear this? Everybody else, certain people they have less knowledge, they have more knowledge. These are all the rabbis. They don't have the capacity to give such a ruling because they realize they don't have that degree of wisdom. Evidently, this person here, he thinks he's on top of the mountain. Therefore, he could even give a psak in this ruling, even in this context. Meaning that means Shmuel was opposed to the ruling. But if Shmuel is not arguing with Rav, and they're speaking about another context, why is he getting upset? So evidently, there is an argument. Shmuel is opposed to the position of what? Of Rav. These are the pligi, am I cook makbid? It's interesting. Once that was the case, David was with me that time. We went to the Yoshi. There was a case many years ago where a man married a woman, and it wasn't simple. He wasn't a stable person initially, and then a year later, it's a disastrous relation. And this person would not give his wife a get under any circumstance. And there's no way. She was Naguna. They already had a child. So I said to the people, the rabbis were involved, I said, you know something? I know for a fact he wasn't stable initially when he got married. So we don't have to even talk about it yet. Marriage was never a marriage. That was my point. So I met, this was right after Moshe passed away, Moshe Feinstein, and I met his son, Rav David Feinstein, and Hashem Brochus. And I explained the whole situation. I said, what do you think about this approach? That she doesn't even need a get because she was never married, because the man at the time of the marriage wasn't stable. We could even get, and the psychiatrist, who was an observant, who was an Orthodox Jew, said, in the history of my practice, which is 30 years, I've never seen a case as bad as this case. That's what he said in terms of instability. He will testify. I said, could you give a ruling that she's not married? That's what I asked for. Whatever. So his comment to me was, my shoulders are not as broad as my father's. That was his comment. That's exactly what Shmuel said to this person. He says, all the Talmidei Chachamim, they have a small measure of wisdom. This man, he behaves as if he has a large measure of wisdom, as he has those broad shoulders, which he doesn't have the broad shoulders, because my position is different than his position. So that was a good to be